Hi everyone, welcome to the video. This one is around PS2 emulation, and I'm going to show you every single step to get up and running from scratch to get the game running and playing. And I know there's a few videos like this kicking around on YouTube, but there are a lot of them kind of just say, grab the BARS files, grab these files, install it here, you're up and running, which is fine, but they never show you where to get the games from, where to get the BARS files from, which I know is a bit of a legal subject, so obviously this video is purely for educational purposes. Any games or BARS you get, you need to make sure that you own and have the rights to, but I'm just going to show you how you can do that. So basically I'm going to show you the two methods. So using this one in front of us here, the PCSX2, it's basically the best emulator probably for PS2, probably the most well-known one and works the best. So I'm going to show you how to set up the standalone version of this, so the standalone emulator, but also how to do it through Retroarch as well as a core, just in case that's your preference. So there's a few things we need to grab. So obviously PCSX2. You can get the latest nightly, which is kind of all the previous, they basically nightly, as it says, as they improve stuff, fix stuff. You can grab that, and they release it each day, but obviously it could have some bugs and issues with it. Generally, I'd recommend to go to the last stable. For the installing option, you get either a full installer, which will install it for you, or you get this one called download, which is just basically a portable version, which means everything is contained within a single folder, and that's one I'm going to recommend to get. So we know, it's in a folder, you know where it is. It's not copying DLLs to system directories, that kind of stuff. So I've got a little folder here. I have already downloaded it, so I won't do it again. You see it's 20 meg, it's not very big. So obviously I'll leave these links in the description. Retroarch itself, if you're not familiar with Retroarch, it's kind of a cross-platform front end with multiple emulators, and they refer to each emulator as a core. So you have the Retroarch GUI, the interface itself, and then you can install multiple cores for multiple different systems, obviously PS2 being one of those, and there's many others. So again, they've got the idea of a nightly. This is currently being worked on, or a stable. Again, recommend go for the stable. And again, I do already have this downloaded. It's 200 meg, so it might take a little bit longer to download. But obviously I've downloaded it, so I'm not going to do it again, but I will show you every single step. It's kind of what I like to do in the videos. Next thing is the BIOS. Now obviously you need to make sure you own the BIOS or have an original PS2 you can dump it from. But if you don't, or you have an issue, this is where you can get the BIOS from. Once again, link will be in the description. So if you've not used archive.org before, it's very handy. This page has a whole dump of ROMs. You can download the whole zip file, 170 meg, or you click on show all here. It will show you what's inside here, and you'll see you've got the main BIOS zip file. Like I say, so it's quite big, 170 meg. You could download the whole lot, or you can click view contents, and it will show you what's inside there. So this is all the content. So basically what we want to do, and the recommendation here is to go for the latest version. So these are in order. You see the version number goes up. So basically, as the PS2 was produced and they brought out newer versions of the motherboard and etc., they'd have newer versions of the firmware. So the very latest one is here at the bottom, this 230A. So 230A is the American version, released in the US. The E is the European, and there are some Japanese ones as well. Now the recommendation, quite important, is to get the A one, the US one, because this will play PAL-based games and NTSC, whereas the European will just do PAL, and the Japanese will just do NTSC. So it's recommended to get the American version. So we just need one file. It's only 4 meg in size. So again, I've already got it. I've put everything in this folder here, but also you can put it wherever you want. So I won't do it again. But that's the that second to last one you want there. So now I think we've got everything. Last thing we need is a game. So for those that don't know this site, a very, very popular site. And you can see various systems they've got ROMs for. So we're on PlayStation 2 here at the moment, and it gives you some little tables here about the most popular, best rated, etc, etc. All I've done is one of my all-time favourite games is Outrun. There's Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast available here. Click on the one you want, and then generally you'll have the information about it and a download link. Sometimes, maybe not on PS2, but on some systems you might have different versions of the game. Like if there's a newer version they brought out, like a patched version, and probably best go for the latest version. The other thing to check when you're doing this is compatibility. So you'll see especially with the PS2, all the games have got codes, so that's the unique serial number or code for this game. So you can copy that to clipboard or just remember the name of the game. Come back to the emulator's homepage, because no matter whether we can use this or RetroArch, RetroArch Core uses a version of this as well, so this should work for both. But you can come here, you can check compatibility. It will show you how many games. So there's a small percentage that are perfect, but nearly 98.5% are playable. So it's a massive amount of the catalogue are playable on this emulator. So what we can do is come here, we can just paste in what I copied, and see it's found the game here. Or you can just start typing the name here. You can start typing in Outrun. And it'll show you the various versions. But this is the version of the European game is the one we've got. Obviously that's the American version of the game. And then you can click here. There's a link to GitHub, which shows maybe some potential issues, but there's none listed there. And there's a link to the page on the wiki. So again, they've got more information about the game here, where people have tested it. No one's tested it on Linux or Mac at the moment, but it's been tested a couple of times on Windows, and it's got a status of playable. So it's just worth double checking this. If you're going to download a new game, just go and check that it is actually playable. I mean, like I say, for PS2, the majority are, but just make sure it is before you waste your time. Okay, let's get on to the fun bit, the technical bit, and actually get this stuff up and running. So, okay, here's all the stuff I've downloaded. I'm just going to delete that from I extracted it earlier as a test. So yeah, here's the stuff we downloaded. We've got the game, we've got the standalone emulator, we've got the BARS file, and we've got RetroArch. So like I said, if you've already got RetroArch, you can kind of skip the install of this, but I want to show it end to end, and obviously you can skip to the bits that are important to you. So let's get this standalone running first. Like I say, it's a zip file, so you can just right click. I have 7-zip installed, so I can, this is Windows 11, I can show more options, go to 7-zip and say extract here please, and it'll just extract everything into a folder with the same name. So now I can come into here, and like I say, everything's self-contained here at the moment. By default, when you run the emulator, it will store some configuration and some other bits and pieces in your Windows user profile, which is probably fine, but it's, you know, if for me, I like to have it portable. I like to have everything in the same folder, and it helps if you're going to pick it up and move it to another machine, or whatever you might want to do with it. So to make, there's an option or a way to make this all be self-contained. So simply right click in here and say new text document, and we're going to call it portable. So it's portable.txt or .txt. It's just an empty file, nothing in it. You don't have to type anything into it. As you can see, it's just an empty file. That's fine. All that means when it launches, it looks for that, and if it finds that, it knows it's going to keep everything local. So now we can launch the actual program. So you're going to get the first time wizard, and there's nothing too difficult in here. Picking a language, probably leave it to system default. Your theme, dark or light, or a whole different bunch of themes. I tend to leave it as dark. And automatic updates is probably the best option to leave on to make sure you've got the latest updates and fixes and performance improvements. And then it's going to look for a BARS file. So what I tend to do is within the folder itself, I'll just right click on a space here and say new folder. I'm going to call that BIOS. Oh, it's already got one. Yeah, that's already create one for you, so you don't need to create it. But let me create the grab the BARS file we had earlier. So Control C to copy, and I'm just going to take back into here, back into BARS, and paste that in there. So now it's asking where is your BARS files. So I'm just going to browse. It's already on it, I think. So, but you do that, and then what it should do, refresh list. There you go. So we can see we've got, with the American, we've got the EDA, so yeah, just to confirm that it's the US version of the BIOS, and it's the latest version from the later consoles made. So that's fine, just click next. And then you can tell it where to look for your games. So what I will do in here, again, under our demo folder, obviously you can create whatever folder you want. If I just create a new folder called Games, and then Outrun that we downloaded is here, it's inside a zip file. So again, I've got 7-zip, I can just open this, grab the ISO, and drop it into there. Take a couple of seconds, like it's, what is it, 700 odd meg. Obviously it's compressed, so it's, yeah, it's gone up to 1.7 gig. Just let that copy across. And there we go, that's done. So if you want, you can delete the 7-zip file now. We've got the actual ISO extracted into here. Okay, so we'll switch back to the emulator now. We've got the game extracted. So it basically wants to look in a particular folder for games, where they are. So we'll add a new folder to look in, and under our demo folder, pick the games folder that I just extracted the game to. Just to select. And then it's saying, do you want to look recursively? So do you want to look in subfolders as well? I mean, here we don't have any subfolders, but if you do, click yes. I'm just going to say no for that for now. Let me just click next. Topic and controller. Also, you can change all this around, but by default, DualShock 2 is the kind of the standard. And at the moment, this is mapped to the keyboard. But I do have a controller, but we'll change that once we're in. Just hit next and finish, and that's it. That's the wizard. It's not overly complex. You can see we've got Outlook in the list. So what I will do quickly is say just change that controller. So if we come down under settings, controllers, we've got controller 1. So at the moment it's DualShock 2 style. You can change this to different types of controllers to emulate if you like, but DualShock is the standard. So at the moment it's mapped to the keyboard stuff. So I'm just gonna, I think I can do auto and say okay, map it to. So this is my controller. It's a 8-bit do. And there we go. It's changed everything. So then I can just say close. So now a quick test of the game. I think I'll just double click it. It should launch. By default, it's going to launch in the window. Okay, just hit next on here. You can obviously like there is sound, but I've got that turned off for the recording just in case there's any copyright. So just let this load quickly, see it runs. Hit start button. Oh, yeah, let's save it, why not? Yeah. So it takes care of a virtual memory card for you, as if you had the physical memory card plugged into the console. Yeah, let's create a new license quickly. That'll do. And there we go, we're up and running. I won't actually launch a game, I'll just hit escape, brings up the menu, and I can use the keyboard just to get down and close the game. Oh. Come on. Apparently it was right into the memory card. There we go. So that's it, that's it up and running now. With the standalone emulator, so nice and simple. And then obviously you can go into settings, you can change all different stuff. The main one probably is graphics, depending on what memory card you've got, what graphics card you've got, and you can tell it which renderer to use. Probably best to leave it on automatic so it'll work itself out, but you can change to Direct 3D or OpenGL or Vulkan. Just, it might be worth, if you're having some performance issues, just play with this and see what works best with your graphics card. Obviously, unfortunately, with emulation, it's not a case of one setting fits all. Everyone's got different hardware, etc. So, but then you can do stuff in here about whether you run it full screen and the aspect ratio, whether it's 16:9 or 4:3, all that kind of stuff. So there's lots of different settings you can change in here. Stuff about filtering to smooth stuff out and improve the graphics, and apply widescreen patches. Another one to if you like to run it in 16:9, some games do support that natively, other games don't, and there's patches been made which to kind of make them work and work properly, shall we say, in widescreen. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of options. I won't go into all those now because obviously there's so many, but you can change things. Like the main one is probably the internal resolution. So you got the default resolution. Obviously PS2 is quite old now, so that's quite a low resolution, but you can get the emulator to upscale. So 2 times or 3 times. 3 times brings you up to sort of 1080p, and obviously you can go way above that, right up to 6K, depending on how good your hardware is. But it's probably worth at least sticking it to 1080, and then you can change the sort of the filtering options. Like I say, to try and improve some of the graphics, and you can do some filtering to smooth out some of the jagged edges, etc. Again, the higher you go, the more demanding it's going to be. So find out what works best for you. But when you get started, we'll just leave it at the default, and maybe just change the resolution. That's probably going to have the biggest impact. So yeah, that's it up and running in the standalone emulator. Now we're going to show how to do it in RetroArch. So again, like I said, I downloaded the latest version of RetroArch here. I'm going to run the install quick. Like I said, I want to do it from very scratch. So I'm just going to go into that folder, but I'm just going to put it into our demo folder. I'm not going to do DirectX because I know I've already got that, but if you're not sure or you haven't, tick the box. Just hit install. And the install for RetroArch is similar to, like, I guess the Portal one we've done for PSX2. It's all self-contained in its own folder. So this installation process is pretty much just extracting the contents into that folder for us. So I'll just let this run across. I try not to pause the videos when I can. Try to let it run through and sort of show the actual real-time process. Hopefully this won't take too long, otherwise I will pause it. But yeah, lots of little files in here, which is why it takes a few moments to extract. Nearly there. Also a good time to mention as well, so I'm part of Team Pixel Nostalgia, so we already provide a sort of pre-made build for RetroBat and Batasura. If you're interested in a completely free, fully built system, fully supported, all the latest RetroBat systems or retro systems, check out the link in the description, the Discord, and give you more information. Okay, so we're done, we're finished now, we've installed it here. So RetroArch is now self-contained in here. So what we'll do is just fire it up. It's just gone off the screen. So let me drag that across. So it does a couple of bits, saves a config file when it first starts. So best practice of RetroArch when you first start it up is, I'm using the keyboard here, go to the online updater and just make sure everything's up to date. So update the core info files, so that's basically the latest list that's available and what versions they are. Update assets, I'm just hitting enter here to select these. The assets is things like the sort of the graphics of the menu and the fonts and all that kind of stuff, all the stuff that's used in the interface. And this one, just pause it for a second because it extracts it, as you can see in the green box there. And then I'm pretty sure once it's done, it'll just reload RetroArch. There it goes. So I want to let it do that before we do anything else. So that should be done now. Let's just come down. So we've done assets, controller profile. So RetroArch is really good at auto configuring detected controller. Cheats is quite big. I won't bother with that at the moment. Databases. There's a database for each system, so it knows about each system that you can add. Overlays and shaders. Probably self-explanatory there. When you're running a game, you can have sort of graphical overlays and bezels and shaders to put kind of scan lines and effects onto stuff. So It's always good practice just to, when you've first installed RetroArch, to update these. So anyway, we've done our update. So what we're going to do is download the core. So as I said before, the core is another word for emulator. So we go into the core downloader, and it lists all these various cores or emulators that are available. So just use the page down. These are done by manufacturer. So we're going to S for Sony. We should see PlayStation 2. There's only the one listed. So it's LR PS2. It's actually a very customized version of PCSX2. So hit enter on there to download. That's it, installed. Very quick. Backspace key to come back. And then there's some system files to download as well. And they've got this one here. Same name. And that's just a couple of, a config file that's needed for this to run properly. So now, what we can do with this running, we'll notice in RetroArch, so in the system folder, what it's done is downloading those system files, is create this folder for us, and under resources it's created an index of games, especially I think settings and patches and that kind of stuff for specific games, settings to get them to work. But what we need to do is, while we're in here, is under PCSX2, so hard to say, we want to right click, just create a new folder called BIOS, and then come back to our folder, grab our BIOS, so Control C or right click copy, go back to RetroArch system. So the system folder is where RetroArch stores all the BIOS files that it needs. So in this case, we're going to do that. So that's fine, it should have everything it needs now. So in the past, when you had to do it, you had to kind of add the PCSX files into that folder, but now it's just it's a lot less. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, let's load content. You can load the core, so you can load the emulator, then load content, or you can load the content, and what it should do is know which core to load, or ask you which core to load. So we're going to do content, so I'm going to go into our demo folder, into games, same as before, pick the ISO, just going to move this up, and now it should, I see, so I can hear the sound but I can't see anything. So if this happens to you, go menu toggle, so let's just close the content, and then what I need to do is I'm going to change my video renderer. So I go to settings, go to video, output, and so at the moment it's on Direct 3D 11. I'll try to change this to Vulkan. So you see I've got an older card, a GeForce GTX 970, which is old, but it still does pretty well. So it's going to change my output to Vulkan instead. Let's go back. I mean, for you, it might work first time. If it doesn't, you might need to do this as well, or change it to OpenGL. Let's just do games, the outrun ISO file. Just try again. Looks better this time. And there we go, we're up and running. So again, I've not recording the sound. I don't want to get caught for any sort of copyright, ironically. But yeah, that's it running inside RetroArch. So let's not save any data this time. But yeah, that's it, up and running. So what we'll do is just toggle the menu. See, then you can do, similar to how we had the graphics options in the standalone emulator, you can come into here and go into the core options, go into video, and again change the resolution, do it at 1080p. It says that we'll need a restart though to change that, and then again all similar options about changing the filtering, etc., to try and kind of improve the graphics and smooth them out and widescreen stuff. So like I say, so if it does with widescreen hint enabled, so that config file it downloaded, which I mentioned before, if the game is listed inside that config file, it knows what settings to apply to make it work in widescreen properly. So we can come back out of here, and then we can restart and play the game. But that is pretty much it. So thanks for watching. I hope that was useful. Like I say, up and running from scratch, from nothing. Up and running the game, both in standalone emulator and also in RetroArch. So like I say, you can go on and tweak the settings and sort of the video and that kind of stuff, and try and make it how you want it. Whether you want to upscale or play it in native resolution as it was back in the day. Yeah, you can kind of fiddle around, but obviously this is kind of like a basic to get you going. So yeah, hopefully it was useful. Any comments, let us know. There can be some more of these coming on different various systems. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm part of Team Pixel Nostalgia, and we do a sort of pre-built system both for Retro Battle Windows and for Linux, or Batazera, which is based on Linux, kind of standalone operating system. So yeah, check those out if you want to. But if you want to do that yourself, follow my guides. If you want to get that pre-done image with whole community behind it, we've got 5,500, nearly 6,000 people joined our Discord server, which is great. And obviously everyone's on there to help, encourage each other, and help fix any issues. But yeah, we provide a whole system pre-configured for you. You pick and choose what systems you want. So yeah, check that out. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. That would really help. And I'll catch you on the next one.